Welcome. So, what can I do for you? This is an hour for you. If you can get it done in an hour, I'm happy to get rid of your troubles.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go first, Emilia.
No, you go actually because I'm not prepared. I was just thinking I will be passively listening. I'm first time here.
Good.
Yeah,
Then, Ivan, what can I do for you?
yeah. I don't have much prepared, but I would like to first start with thanking you for this course. I've been thoroughly enjoying this a lot. I don't know, I have had once German course in India, and then another in VHS here in Germany. I really like the class here, but it was mostly the classroom kind of classes, and I lost it somewhere at the end, and yeah, it had to be regular, and then I could not do it regularly, and yeah, it was hard. But with smarterGerman, I don't know, it had been really engaging for me to work with it, and yeah, the tool is also very helpful for me. So I really like doing it, and yeah, it's fun. So I don't feel like a lot of learning, and it's casual about it. And the things I have in my list is mostly in my mind pleasing notebook. So not big of a doubts. I don't know if it's really big. So I'm in A2 level right now, and I've had a couple of lessons that in which I had some doubts. So the first thing is there was this line in the first lesson where it said und begrüßt Stefan ihren Assistenten. So here I did not understand why it was Assistenten and not assistant, because it's singular. Stefan is a single person, and why it's Assistenten.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Schön. Simone fragt ihren Assistenten, something like that, right? So post it in the chat. Follow me in the chat. It's the easiest for now. I can share my screen once I have a bit. Okay, good. Now, it's their assistant. I make this bigger in a second. So now you can read this.
Yeah.
Ignore what's on the left. We just move it away. This can go as well. And the plural would be zwei Assistenten. Zwei. Yeah?
Yeah.
No, but you say ihren Assistenten is one assistant, but she only has one, which is Stefan. Yeah, and then the question indeed arises, why is that an extra? And this is simple because assistant ends in ENT. And that's simply a handful or two handful of words that take this extra N in singular, but not everywhere, only in accusative, dative, and genitive. Never nominative. So, for example, if I turn this around, it would be der oder ihr Assistent fragt sie. Yeah, I turn this around. Her assistant is asking her. And you see there's no extra en. Yeah, actually it's an extra en. And this is the rule. So only in this. And we call this whole phenomenon the N declination. I also have heard something like a strong noun declination, but let's not do that. It's the N declination because you add an extra en or n only at the end of certain words. And that is, for example, ent. Could also be ant. For example, Simone fragt ihren Praktikanten. Yeah, it's ein Praktikant, zwei Praktikanten. So it's the same game. Or Simone fragt ihren or den Präsidenten. So you see that all these words ending in ant or ent follow this rule. It's not that important. The only words you need to remember actually are Nachbar and Herr. These are the two words you will encounter until the end of B1, and afterwards maybe Präsident, Praktikant, Journalist is another one in Journalisten. Yeah.
And
So this
when,
is a
yeah.
yeah.
So
Ask.
and when it's like in plural, like does it stay the same? Like even if it's a subject or the object, like zwei assistant as the assistenten, like it's assistenten always, right? Like
What do you mean? Say it again.
if it's the plural that comes in the sentence, like even if it's the object or subject, does it stay the same? Like assistenten always?
No, it changes. It changes. So that's the point. Yeah. So you need to know your cases. So never nominative. So if you say, you can still see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure why it's not. Okay. So if you take a look at here, number 1, Simone is what in the sentence?
That's a subject.
Subject. And subject is always in which case in German?
Nominative.
Yes. So if I turn this around here, your assistant is what in this sentence? Subject, right?
Yeah.
So as nominative, as subject, you never have this en. As an object, however, like you can see here, I cannot do this, sorry. I have to do this.
Yeah, I understood that. I was asking like when it's the plural that's the subject and the object, like does it stay the same? Like it's the same.
Yeah, that's the same. Doesn't matter. So the plural and declination is the same. For example, die zwei Assistenten fragen die zwei Assistenten. Yeah. Or you could also so here both of them are plural. More than one. Yeah, but you could also have die zwei Assistenten fragen den einen Assistenten. It's not plural anymore. So all you need to know is with 2 words, and it's not the assistant, except in my story, Nachbar and Herr. These are important. So let's call them A and B. For example, ich liebe Herrn Müller. You see the extra N?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oder ich liebe meinen Nachbarn. That's all. Yeah. So Nachbarn, but if you say ich liebe zwei Nachbarn, possible, right? So this is plural then again.
Okay.
No, you always need to know what is this. And here, this is a bit special. How do you say I love 2 misters?
Zwei Herren, ja. Herren.
Ja. Ich liebe zwei Herren.
Herren, okay.
And here you see a difference. This is the only exception. Yeah. And if you write a letter in German, which nobody does nowadays anymore, then you have to actually, you might have seen that sometimes when you get a letter from a Behörde, I don't know how you call it, administration, they write Anne, Iron, Thomas. You see the extra N? Any idea why? Good question, huh? So this is N declination, obviously, but we said the subject should never get this, the nominative. This can therefore not be the subject. It must be the object. So a letter is an Herrn, to.
Okay.
So therefore this is an object. Yeah. Accusative, to gehen, yeah. Object. And that's why you see it on letters if the person who wrote the letter is my age, because they might have learned the proper address. Nowadays, nobody does that anymore. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the N declination. Honestly, I recommend not to bother before B2. The only thing you need to know is Herrn and Nachbarn. Because if you call someone, how do you say, I would like to speak to Mr. Miller? Try.
Ich möchte mit Herrn Müller sprechen.
Yeah. Because it's the object. So this is what you've learned now. So you don't say, ich möchte mit Herr Müller sprechen, which of course you will get through, right? They will put you through, and possibly the kids nowadays don't really use that much anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds also similar. Maybe I haven't listened to that. Like I haven't noticed that when I have heard that. Only in writing I have seen this difference. Maybe.
Yeah. But if I say, ich möchte gerne mit Herrn Müller sprechen, I say the N for sure.
Okay.
And I don't think that many German learners do that. Maybe because they picked it up somewhere, but it's unlikely. No?
Yeah.
And neighbor, yeah. If you say, I love my neighbor, you possibly will say, I love my neighbors, and then it's Nachbarn anyhow. So this is a little twist, but it's only these two words that really matter. And in B2, you will pick it up. This will never be a problem if you take an exam. They will never let you fail because of this. But it's an interesting little thing. Yeah. And remember this, it's only in accusative, dative, genitive, which means only objects. Yeah.
Should I write these down, or like do we get these recordings like somewhere on YouTube or something?
I will record this and I will upload it in YouTube because the live stream failed for today. So you will see it there. But honestly, regarding writing down is another thing. Why do you need to write this down? What's missing? There's one rule to remember. What is the rule?
Yeah, the object takes the N for these N declination for Nakwan, hair, assistant.
Yeah. And how many words do you need to remember that fall under N declination?
I remember 3, and then president and practic. And
well, you already remember more than you have to. Yeah. So this I know the habit. I've studied for many years, and I was a big note taker. But honestly, once you get something, it's there.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 words you remember when it matters. It's not that important to actually take a note. I wouldn't even take a note on something like this. Yeah. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. And if it's something bigger, sure, note taking is good. Do you take many notes?
Not really. Like for the reading analysis, you do say that like every now and then about like note taking. So I don't really note take much, but the grammar stuff I do like have a small word so that I can revisit them like every now and then, like casually on my phone or something.
So what do I say notes are good for? Let's see whether you're a good listener.
Notes are good for I don't remember. No.
Notes are good for focusing your attention.
Okay.
Yeah, because they help you to pay attention to what is really important. So it helps you to focus. Yeah. So is there something of interest there? I write this down. So it helps you to listen more focusedly. But it is a really bad thing to, or not really bad, but it's a waste of time if you really take note of everything you hear just to be able to listen to it later again or to read through it later again. Why would you do that? Listen rather the first time. At university, the professor never cares whether you listen or not, whether you understand it or not. So in that case, it makes more sense to take notes. But in a German online course where you can watch a video 50 times if you want, why take notes?
Yeah.
Pause, process, understand. And if it's not clear, repeat. My reading analysis videos are a bit different. Yeah, they are there to enjoy, to relax and see what lands, what can you pick up. 2-3 things per reading analysis video is gold because you have 50 per course, if not 100 or 150 even. So that's a lot of information. So 1 or 2 even per video suffice that you remember, not take note of. Yeah, so note taking, do it delicately, like or scarcely.
Yeah. On that same note, like I forget the meaning difference between like this is one of my questions in the mind pleasing notebook, like between würde and wurde, like with the umlaut u and the normal u, like and müssten and mussten, like these. I sometimes forget, like so
I'll share with you. wurde versus würde. Lovely topic. Maybe someone else wants to try and share them. Anyone wants to try and explain the difference? Don't worry about failing. It's a common tricky thing. No one? All shy? It's a vocabulary issue. So in English, both would translate as would. If you only translate one word at a time. But you have to see in context. For example, ich wurde. You see my screen, right? How I'm typing.
Yeah.
Okay. Ich wurde gefragt. Common thing. Ja? Ob ich Lust habe, da. I was being asked whether I feel like doing this. And then ich würde gerne. Würde is usually used with gerne, but not always. Ich würde gerne einen Kaffee bestellen. I would like to order a coffee. So you see the difference if I translate this? Yeah. So you see I'm lazy to type. Yeah, it's not that I don't know what it is in English. Here. I would like to order a coffee. And this one is I have been asked. So you see it already changes. The wurde without the umlaut simply means it's passive. Yeah? Passive. If you're in what level? A2, right? So the
A2,
passive is not necessarily coming up soon, maybe at the end. I don't remember the details. And this one is simply, this is the conjunctive. So don't worry about the terms. By the way, there's only 25 of these terms that you possibly will ever have to learn, and they're very doable. So passive simply means it's not that you are doing the asking, but that the asking is happening to you. I'm passive. You can ask me anything. I don't have to do anything. So that's passive. It's literally what it means. I have been asked. Yeah. And you build the passive in German with the wurde. Wurde, however, is, as you can see, have been the past. If you take the present tense, it says ich werde gefragt. Yeah. So this is easier. But so you asked about the past. Now würde, the umlaut, the two dots. Yeah. Imagine someone like this. They're always a bit shy. They're careful. They're asking. They're having a request. So the conjunctive 2 is used for polite requests. That's why the gerne is there. Yeah. These are usually a couple. In B2, you will learn würde without gerne. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
So
in my example, like it's like würde lieber ein bisschen entspannen.
sure, then you have the same. Whether you say lieber or gerne, no difference.
Okay.
What's the difference between gerne and lieber? It's a nice one.
Prefer lieber is some prefer or something. I don't know. Gerne.
Yeah, preferably, right? So gerne, lieber, am liebsten. Does this ring a bell? Does it look familiar?
Yeah.
So this is the comparative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So lieber is the next stage after gerne. Gerne, yeah, I like. Lieber, rather, more than I like. Am liebsten, most favorite. So it's just, it's the same word, it's the same meaning, just a notch more intense. So it's the same. Yeah. Lieber, gerne is the same. What's the difference between gern and gerne?
And is it conjugated for each and no?
Good question. Question always goes to everybody, right? You can also type in the chat. There's a chat, and you can also ask questions there in the chat and raise your hand. Yeah, it's not that I do the whole hour with Ivan, but I'm happy to do these things because these are very common. What's the difference between gern and gerne? Every German learner needs to answer this instantly. Zack, zack. If you don't know it, that's a good thing to look at, and it's very simple. Everything in German is very simple, by the way. It's the simplest language on this planet. Simpler than English. So you don't know because nobody tells you, or you have never come across. So there's no difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why
Germans. Yeah. Say it.
Yeah, but why do we write like 2 spellings for that?
Because there is 100 million German speakers, and everybody thinks they have to express themselves individually. So there is a couple of people that prefer to say ich sage gern, others say ich gerne. There is a few expressions that preferably use gern. For example, gern geschehen. Yeah, gern geschehen, meaning with pleasure. I wouldn't say gerne geschehen. It wouldn't be wrong. It would just not be usual. It would not be something people would say in daily life. Yeah. So it's not wrong to say gerne instead of gern, but this is the one example that comes to mind where I would prefer gern over gerne. Yeah. And this is it. And you see here, what's the difference between ich hab and ich habe? You don't need this little thing here, the apostrophe, but I put it there because I'm old school. And it helps. What's the difference?
Is it colloquial, like when you speak, like you say that? Like I have heard like people say ich habe.
Yeah, exactly. So this is how we speak. Ich habe keine Lust. Ich habe kein Geld. Ich habe keine Zeit. I wouldn't say ich habe keine Zeit. Too many syllables. I say for syllable, we are very efficient. Yeah.
When people say nicht, as in like not, like the I've heard like different ways of saying like nicht or nix or something. Nix is the most in NRW, like I've heard like a lot of people like say that. I don't know, is it a NRW thing, like nixing?
Colloquial. That's how nix is a bit possibly more intensive. Yeah. For example, in the connection of nix da, like don't you dare. Yeah. Come, I take your mobile. I steal your mobile and say nix da. Yeah. Yeah, Felicia, you can join in as well. We are a small group.
Hello, hi everyone. So I was listening in and I was wondering with regards to, I know you're talking about speaking, but when we're writing, do we say ich habe or habe? Ich habe.
It depends on where you write.
Oh, okay.
So where do
Okay,
you
so
write?
both are acceptable in writing and speaking?
Yeah, if you write your friends on WhatsApp, you write as you speak. If you write a letter to the mayor, you will not write hab, you write ich habe. So formal letter, informal letter. That's always the distinction. Du or
Okay.
sie.
Okay.
No? But you can also write ich habe keine Zeit to your friends. It's not forbidden. It's just not what you see what your friends do. Copy your friends if you have any that speak German or write German. If you don't have any, you stick to the formal way. It's always a good fallback. Yeah? Good. So Germans are very picky with this. I'm rather loose. I say du to everyone. And if I get a Z back twice, then I fall back to the Z. Your approach should be different. You say Z to everyone. If they dudes you and they are not necessarily 100 years older than you can also dudes them. Yeah. So in case of doubt, always Z. It's a good point. Clear? And here, look at this. Nicht. You see, nicht is highlighted red here on my screen. The formal dictionary doesn't like that shortcut, but nicht, the t, I save. Yeah, das mache ich nicht. So with friends, all these colloquialisms are okay. Formally not. Yeah. Okay, let me quickly answer, Ivan, thank you for nice questions. Let me quickly add this from Emilia from the chat. Ich hatte gern einen Kaffee or ich hatte lieber einen Tee. Are these correct? Oops, sorry. Oh, so it's interesting. It's doing this. I like this. Let me answer this. Are these correct? Ich hatte gern eine Kaffee or ich hatte lieber einen Tee. In the first, I would like or to have a coffee. And natural.
Sorry for the spelling is there. And the second one means I would prefer.
Okay. So you didn't use the umlauts. Can I add the umlauts?
Yes, I didn't.
By the way, if you want to pretend to know the umlauts or write the umlauts, you do either, you can write like this with an E after it, because the two dots basically come from there. Or you
Yes.
can simulate like this, what I do. You see? I put the dots on the side with the
I
colon.
see.
Yeah?
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So, ich hätte gern einen Kaffee and lieber has an IE. Okay. There is no difference. I would prefer. No, the difference is following. I would like to have a coffee. And the second one means I would rather have a coffee. Or I'd prefer to have a coffee. That's the difference.
So the second is more like a comparing, right?
I would prefer. And the first one is I would like to have. It's a desire of mine. This is all. Now a coffee would be like, you have no choice. There's no choice, coffee or tea. On the second, if I offer you coffee or tea, you say, I would rather have. So you then compare indeed. It's a comparison.
Yes.
The ER gives it away. And that's why we call this the comparative. See, grammar is easy, right? It uses the grammar terms are very clear if you know Latin. Yeah. I don't know any Latin, but I understand them. Yeah. So it's a comparison. Tea or coffee, what do I take? I have a song for this. Yeah. It's called Kaffee oder Tee, ironically. So, or funnily in this case, not ironic.
Thank you. I understand now.
Yeah. Any other questions? So interesting. I haven't used this in a while, but I like this.
I had one more question if
Yeah. Go for it.
okay. Yeah, that would be my last. Sorry, guys.
No, I'm happy for any question. Anyone can ask any question at any time.
So this is with the conjunctive swai from the A2 lesson 9. So in the preaching there was this question, and it really bugged me when it's like könntest du bitte arbeiten? That's a question, and the answer that I had to say was könnte ich, möchte ich, aber nicht. So here the first position of the könnte is like really bugging me. I don't know, like if I translate literally to English, it's like could I, but I would prefer not to. Like it's like usually the könnte, when it comes like usually it's for the yes or no questions, like we put it in the first question, right? Like I don't know, I studied it like that somehow. For yes or no questions you put like könntest du bitte. Yeah. So that könnte ich as an answer is like I would rather prefer it as ich könnte, aber ich möchte nicht. So that's a bit more easier for me.
Well, German language doesn't care whether it's easier for you, but this is, see, what does it mean easy? Easy simply means you've done something 1,000 times. You do this 1,000 times, you will wonder why you ever struggled with it. It's a matter of repetition. Yeah, it's the first thing. So nothing is really difficult in this regard. Or when it comes to this. Now, you couldn't say das ich könnte. You would have to say indeed, das könnte ich. Das möchte ich aber nicht. That would be the very formal way to answer, yeah, because the das is referring to the arbeiten. But to the German, it's clear what you are referring to, because I just asked the question or gave you an order and you just respond to this, so there's no misunderstanding possible necessarily. And therefore, I can let go of any redundant information. And the das is simply redundant. And Germans are efficient and they don't like to unnecessarily take a breath. You have a limited amount of breath in your life, and if you waste them on syllables that you don't need to speak, why would you do that? Yeah. So And you see the order is the same. So this is not, könnte ich is theoretically on position 2 as you have learned where the verb should be. And the same, the möchte. Yeah? Sorry that the thing is moving. I can actually delete this. Everything is in order. And if you want to say das and das, you would sound a little bit stiff to the Germans, but to any other German learner, you possibly would sound fine. So don't worry too much about it. It's not that important.
Is ich könnte wrong? Like, or can I also say like ich könnte das?
Sure. Of course. So in German, you might have learned that the one thing that matters.
Yeah, second
Is
position for the
second position for the verb in most sentences that you speak. Yeah? Unless there is something that pushes them to the end. What you put in front and after is relatively flexible. Not everything is that flexible, but for you in A2, play around. Try and see how it feels, how it sounds, and above all, start listening to your surroundings. Start listening to your course audio. How do people say things in the audio? You have a course, and the advantage is, an online course, the advantage is you can listen to the same thing 100 times. And every time you can focus on a different phrase or a different grammatical item. Yeah? And this is from the preaching, right? So this is not pre-recorded necessarily. I put this in the preaching so that you practice it 100 times so that it doesn't feel so unusual. Because this is how we speak. And the closer you speak to how we speak, the native German speakers, the better. Yeah? That's the only motivation why it's there. Not to make your life easier. I make your life not more difficult. I just show you how it is. The preaching is really your door into how people speak. I made this colloquial where it made sense. It's not all colloquial, but it's for the most part.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. In English, it's always I could, right? I could, but don't want to. But in German, we are a bit more flexible.
Yeah, that was the one that was making it difficult because I had like this English structure in my mind, like that was like preventing me from like absorbing this properly.
Yeah, when you realize this, so if you do the preaching to those that don't know is simply a drill where you repeat certain structures and phrases again and again and exchange a single part of it. It's basically a pattern drill, very old technique and proven technique. And by repeating it again and again, you actually make things sound or feel less strange because your structure is different here. And any difference feels strange and odd and you feel like you can't get used to or it's difficult. As I say, difficulty in many things in language learning simply means you haven't done it often enough. Yeah. It doesn't mean you just have to repeat everything a million times and then you speak fluent German. That's not how it works. But certain structures you just need to get used to. That's all. Yeah. So do the preaching more often. How often do you do preaching? The question is to all again. Yeah.
Once a week when I go through a lesson.
And how long do you do the preaching? You do it once until you're done?
Yeah, just once.
Here we go. Here you have your answer. The preaching is the most powerful next to dictation, but dictation has trains different skills. Most powerful exercise for beginners. Because it's difficult, right? But it's not too difficult. You can do it. You have time. There's no pressure, no social pressure. If you speak with me, you cannot repeat things because I would think, what a weird fellow. Yeah. Yes, say.
No, like.
Yeah, say.
Sorry, what was your question again?
So the preaching, you do it only once, right? Because you are trained to finish a task and then you are successful. With smarterGerman, that's never the task. The task is never to finish anything. The task is to do it and to master it. And you master the preaching by doing it 5 times or 10 times. You stop just before you get tired or annoyed or frustrated. Yeah. And if you get frustrated again and again, then you reach out to me and we look at things. Why do you get frustrated? Because there's of course natural reason to get frustrated, but technically there's no reason to get frustrated. Yeah. And I can always see what you do wrong and what not, or what you could improve. It's not that you do things wrong, it's just not working. No.
But how many times do I need to like repeat it? Like I usually do it like when I can automatically see it, like by the end of like once, like I usually get the flow of it, like while I sign Fagnish counter, that thing, it usually naturally comes at the end of like the 10 preaching steps that I do. So I usually stop it at there, like, or should I do it like when I can see it by heart, or like, or I don't know.
No, it's not that you should learn the preaching phrases by heart. That might happen incidentally, yeah. But that's not the aim. The aim is that you understand the pattern, that you get a feeling for the pattern in front of you. Yeah. For example, könnte ich, will ich aber nicht. Yeah, möchte ich aber nicht. So that thing comes naturally. Well, if you're fluent, but after the first time, why not do it another time and enjoy the fluency?
Mm-hmm.
If it still feels weird to you, do it another time. The moment it stops feeling weird is a good time to stop. Of course, you cannot do this 1,000 times. So maybe set a limit. 5 times is the absolute maximum I will do any preaching.
Okay.
And the good point is that like my courses are also very built on redundancy and abundancy. That means you will preach the important patterns again and again in different forms. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, you at one point fall asleep and you give up. So do it 5 times now and then do another one 5 times. It's fine. By the way, if you're fluent already, if it goes easy, a preaching takes 2 minutes or something. Why not do it 5 times? 10 minutes on practicing your muscles is a good investment. Because you don't have German muscles yet. You go to the studio, to the gym to work out?
Not really.
Let's see.
I play football, yeah.
Yeah, you play football. You play once a week for 10 minutes and then you want to be Messi, right? Doesn't work like that. Messi kicked the ball thousands of times from the corner just to be good at it. And man, he can flank the ball nicely, yeah? So, and he might be a bit more, how do you call this, persistent on this, yeah? You don't have to do it this way, but he also enjoys it. And the better it gets, the more enjoyable things get. So you have to find the balance. Where does it start to become a bore? And then you move on. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel into how you feel about things. But again, get rid of this idea that we all learn in school, or you just have to please the teacher, even the inner teacher that doesn't exist, and to tick off a lesson. So I have done the course. This is a habit that school trains us for, and likely also the way people behave at the workplace. It's unnecessary in learning German. Why do you learn German to begin with?
So I like wanna like work here. So I am doing my master's right now. So for like better employment and also like integrating into the community maybe better. But the thing is like between my studies and like I get less time. So the time constraint is what's like restricting me into like doing it once, and then so I want to like get to like a better level, like, or speak like better by the end of my course. So that's why I to like but yeah, I get your point. Like I need to master it properly to like understand it in the right way.
Why wait until the end of the course to speak better? Why not speak better now? And the only way is to repeat and to practice. You will not automatically be better just because you finished the course, no matter what course, no matter how magical it is. Yeah, same with any course at VHS or anywhere. Just finishing a course means nothing. Nothing. Yeah. And in a course that has a fixed curriculum, a fixed plan, in 6 months we need to get from scratch to B1. There's no room for failure or for thorough practice because it's really tightly scheduled. I worked like this for many years before I quit and created smarterGerman. And then I was free to work as I wanted. And I can tell you, the student always think they have to do it like they have learned it. And the main work I have is to convince them to let go of this old idea, which is not good. It's not a good approach to learning anything. Learning is fun. Learning is something very rewarding. Yeah. And try to find the fun. Yeah, I understand the course can be a bit rigid. Start reading a book. In A2, you can read a little bit. Read one sentence a day in a book. Short stories. Buy anything. Buy something by a good author, not something made for German learners. Yeah? Read Harry Potter. One sentence a day. And try it. Yeah? Whatever you read. I couldn't read that stuff, but yeah. Try to find some fun.
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Emilia, your question. So, my answer can be, so, hast du einen Stift? Yeah. Do you have a pen? Your answer is, ich habe keinen. That actually would be a good one. Which one is correct? Ich habe nicht. So you want, the topic here is clear. As negation, right? Now, what are you negating? You're negating the Stift. What is the Stift grammatically? You don't necessarily have to know that, but it helps understanding. What is Stift grammatically?
Grammatic no subject, object.
It's an object, very good. And on a work level, we have a different term. So we have adjectives, we have verbs, and then we have words that start with a capital letter. How do you call these? Have you heard of this?
Nouns.
Yes, very good. You start with a capital letter. Your name starts with a capital letter. Unless it's written in Arabic, then it possibly doesn't. Yeah? Any language that has capitalization, capital letters, well, capitalizes names, very likely. And in German, we go a step further. We give names to everything. A pen, the word pen or the word Stift is just the name of this item here. So we capitalize it. We honor it by capitalizing it. So nouns are just names. Noun is Latin for name, name of a thing. So you're negating a noun. And when negating nouns, you only have one option. Which one would you pick if you had to pick one or two? Which one are you more confident about?
I think would be Kein.
Very good. So your intuition is already very good. Yeah, because you can add Stift. You don't have to because, efficiency, right? Ich habe keinen Stift. You cannot say ich habe nicht Stift. You can always try this, but the more you hear German, the more you will learn or feel like, I haven't heard this really anywhere from a German native speaker or in the audio I'm working with. So the more you expose yourself to the language, the more you will pick these up intuitively. But you cannot say nicht Stift. Yeah?
I see. But I have a question. Would it be possible also to use like a very short answer? Like I wrote like ich habe ich habe nicht and full stop. Like a short, quick answer. No. I see.
Ich habe nicht. Ich habe nicht. Ich habe nicht.
I don't know. I never heard. I was just.
Yeah, let me see whether I can construct something. Here's the only way you could use something like ich habe nicht, and I have to change it a little bit. Hast du meinen Stift? Do you understand the question?
Yes.
Okay. Nein. Deinen Stift. You don't have to say, but then you have to remove habe ich nicht. So this is the only situation in which you can do that. But you're not negating the Stift here.
I see.
Because the negation of nouns always happens in front of nouns. So keinen is always in front of a noun. If you don't
Nice.
hear it, that simply means the Germans are lazy or efficient.
Yes.
Yeah. So you cannot have keinen without a noun, but the noun is not always shared with you, but it's clear by context.
I
Yeah.
see. So it's still correct to say ich habe keinen, like a shortcut. Like,
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
I understand.
Ich habe keinen, ich habe keine, ich habe keins. Yeah. For example, it gets a bit more interesting later in B1, B2. Ich habe keins. Yeah, you cannot say ich habe kein. If you don't say the noun, you can say ich habe kein Geld, or alternatively, ich habe keins. So if I ask you, you go out and you ask, hast du Geld? Yeah, do you have money? And then you say either ich habe kein Geld or ich habe keins. The S here replaces the Geld. It's the only exception with neuter nouns, which is why it matters you learn the genders. But this is the only one. Yeah. Clear?
Okay, thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, these are little things how people speak. I wouldn't bother too much with this in the first 6 months or first 3 levels. In B2, this all gets more interesting. Yeah. If someone asks you, hast du Geld? You say, ich habe kein Geld. It's okay. It's good practice. Yeah. Anything else? Thinking, was there anything? So negation. Yeah, why not? As we are at it. So, kein or nicht is very simple. If it's a noun, you are negating. It is kein in whatever form. Yeah. And you see here I chose nen, which is short for einen. You cannot say nicht einen. That does not exist. Well, in B2 it exists, but not now. Let's not go down there. Yeah. For you, it doesn't exist. And then the more interesting part is the nicht, because nobody knows where to put it. In my course, I think I added also in the new courses, I added a whole new trainer for the position of nicht. Ja, ich habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen. Yeah, thanks for the correction. So, I have seen your husband yesterday in the supermarket. How would you negate this in English?
I did not see your husband in the supermarket.
Good. Didn't see. So what you negate is the seeing. Yeah? Intuitively, because you put the not in front of the see. You didn't say not yesterday. You didn't say not your husband. You didn't say not at the supermarket. So even in English, I'm not fully sure whether that always applies. I would have to gather more examples. But in general, the habit is to put the negation in front of what you negate. Now in German, this is a little bit trickier. How would you say the same message in German? Where do you put the nicht? Kein is not an option here. There is no noun we can negate here. Yeah? Mann and Supermarkt have already partners, deinen and im, so you cannot put a kein in between. Where do you put the nicht here? That's a nice question.
I think it's
The
before
verb?
the
Sorry, go ahead.
First one, then the other. We take both.
I would put before gesehen. Or after habe.
Okay, a few options. So let's see. First option, I number them. Nicht. Second option says after habe.
Yes.
So, okay. Let's take a look at both and see. Ich habe nicht deinen Mann im Supermarkt gesehen. And the other one, ich habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt nicht gesehen. Beautiful, huh? How would I say it? Let me think quickly. Ich habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt nicht gesehen. Ich habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt nicht gesehen. Yeah. So, I would take this one. This one is not wrong. It just has a different meaning. What's the difference between the two?
I think the nicht gesehen is more that to say that I didn't see. And the first one, ich habe nicht deinen Mann gesehen, I think is that maybe I saw another man, like nicht your man, but maybe another.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Yeah. So you pronounce it differently as well, or emphasize, not pronounce. Ich habe nicht deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen, sondern deinen Bruder. And while I can think of a situation in which this is a real sentence, it is rather rare. Yeah. So you're discussing, oh, you met my husband yesterday in the supermarket. And then say, no, I didn't meet your husband. I met your brother. So the nicht is negating the man, but it's not about that specific person. It's more about the fact that you've seen him. And this is, the brain doesn't really process this well. Yeah. So there's a couple of steady rules you can use. And one is, for example, in general, if you have a past form, yeah, like nicht gesehen, I would simply put it in front of the gesehen. Let me try another one. Ich habe gestern. Interesting. It's not that easy. Ich habe gestern keine. Achso, ich habe meine Mutter gestern so angerufen. There's a few rules. This is only one and you have to always go through all of them. Yeah? So, ich habe meine Mutter gestern angerufen. I have called my mother yesterday. How would you negate this one?
The niche between gestern and gerufen?
Yeah. No, so this would meet the same pattern, would be the same principle. You have a angerufen, a past form, and you put the nicht before. Again, then there is an example that came to mind. Let me see whether I can get this. Ich habe gestern ein Auto gekauft. Now this gets more interesting, but this is actually not too difficult. Where do you put the nicht here?
Would it be after gekauft?
After gekauft. Oh, that's an interesting one. Very good position. Possible. So, by the way, one of the rules is nicht, never, after, past participle. GE word from the past.
Oh, okay.
So that doesn't work. Yeah, in English that works. Yeah, I love you. Not. Yeah. So in that joke way of it works in English, but not in German. So it's like in English. I have bought a car. Not. That doesn't work. So here, this was a trick question, because what are you negating? You're not negating the buying, you're negating the car. And why?
When you buy something else, like, or
Much simpler. Much simpler.
That's interesting. Why would I not? Because I would say I have not bought a car
Mm-hmm. So
in English.
Yeah, the problem is we are applying logic. Or actually, we are not applying logic. We are trying to put common sense onto something.
Okay.
But there's no common sense. There's a certain logic. I see if there is a noun with, let's say, ein. I try to keep it simple. The rules are possibly more refined. if there is a noun with an ein in front of it, whatever form it has, einem, yeah, eine, einer, you negate that with kein. Because all we have to do is to add a k in front of the ein. That's the easiest way to negate things. See the logic?
Yeah.
Yeah? And that was a trick. You see, when I write this down, it takes me also a few seconds to realize what is the point. Well, it's very mechanical. I have the auto, there is no place for nicht. Of course I can add nicht to this. Yeah? For example, ich habe nicht gestern ein Auto gekauft. That is possible. But what does it mean?
Not yesterday.
Ja. Nicht gestern, sondern letzte Woche. I didn't buy it yesterday, but last week. So the focus here is on the gestern. I negate the gestern, the time. And again, there is situations where this is used, but these are like 1 in 100. So the common thing is the auto is negated. For example, ich habe gestern ein Auto nicht gekauft. Is doable. But what is the meaning? Sondern, can someone complete this?
I know, leasing, or how do you say that in German?
Yeah, beleased. Excellent. Yeah, the focus is on indeed the action. I'm negating the buying, indeed, literally, but it's really rare. Yeah. So you have a conversation with a friend and, oh, du hast doch gestern das Auto gekauft. You've bought the car yesterday. He said, no, I didn't buy it. I leased it. So you can make up this situation and it exists in real life, but it's rather a rare conversation to have. Yeah. So the only feasible, and I have one more option, by the way. Nicht ich habe gestern ein Auto gekauft. How do you finish it?
Mein Bruder.
Yeah, genau. So not me bought the car, but my brother. You don't listen to what I tell you. Yeah. So the only acceptable and really used version is I didn't buy a car. So in English, the problem is you say didn't buy. It's much simpler in English because you negate the buying process, right? Yeah. Yeah. So this is a little bit of a trick, was a trick question. One trick you can do, it's not a trick, it's a habit you do, and initially it's slow, but you do this 1,000 times, it gets fast. So if you take a look at the first sentence, ich habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen, you simply check all the positions between the words. And this is for training only. Of course, in daily life, you will never do this, right? So you have so many opportunities to put the verb. You have 9 possibilities in such a long sentence to put the nicht. And for training purposes, you write down 9 sentences, putting the nicht always in the next spot, and then to look into it and ask, what does this mean? Yeah. So what does the first thing mean? You know, not me, not I have seen your husband, but my brother has seen it. What about the second one? Ich nicht habe deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen. What about this one?
I think this one is wrong.
Yeah, definitely impossible.
But why?
Not logically, it doesn't make any sense.
That's
Oh,
like
it makes a lot of sense. I don't have. Like in English, I don't have. I not have. Ich nicht habe.
the verb
Is
the,
I guess go ahead, sorry.
yeah, the verb position is like third now.
For me, it's a
Verb.
context.
Context doesn't help. Don't, with grammar,
Mhm.
careful. Very rarely, if at all, the context matters. only with two case prepositions, which is where do you go, where are you. But in general, in grammar, most of the time, context is irrelevant. And that is what fools you, because you think there is common sense. Grammar doesn't care. Grammar makes no sense in the classic way of sense. This is a formality. Habe in this sentence is on what position? Ich is on position 1, nicht takes position 2, and habe is on position 3. This is a crime to humanity. There's, position 2. Nicht cannot move the verb to the next position. It doesn't have the power. And therefore this is impossible or not allowed. No logic, logic, but no sense, no context. This is the simple answer, and is difficult for people to process because we want it to make sense. And all the stuff we've done before, right? We put it in front of something, we negate that one. And in English you do this. I do not have. In English you have not have, so it feels natural for you if you speak English fluently. But in German it is not correct. It's impossible because of grammar rules. The good news is that makes it simple because you only have to apply the rule. You do not have to understand a deeper sense or a deeper context. So, this one is clear. Ich habe nicht deinen Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen. I haven't seen your man, your husband, but your brother, right? So, how about this one? Number 4 is interesting. Ich habe deinen Nicht-Mann gestern im Supermarkt gesehen.
This one is incorrect as well, because we cannot put nicht between these two words. They need to be together.
Correct. The only thing you can put between an article, deinen is an article, and the noun that it belongs to are adjectives. Something like schön or alt or jung. But nicht is neither. So it cannot be there. Again, space is reserved for adjectives. You know, Germans like to reserve spaces, right? And so does the language. Imagine a towel lying there. The towel is reserved for adjectives, but it doesn't always have to take one. So, dein Mann nicht gestern, we talked about this, right? It wasn't yesterday that I saw him, it was the day before. I should put this more space. So, this one, possible or not possible? Let's look at this. Ich habe deinen Mann gestern nicht im Supermarkt gesehen.
Possible.
Yeah, I didn't see him in the supermarket. I saw him on the street. Nothing special. How about this one? Im Nicht-Supermarkt gesehen.
Possible, because it could be some other supermarket.
But we had this already here.
Like Emilia
Oh,
said,
but the noun. Is it because of the noun supermarket?
That's a very good point. First of all, if it's right in front of a noun, it cannot be nicht.
Yeah.
Yeah? It should be kein. Here's another rule at play. Do you see that? The same as in number 4. Look at the position. Not obvious, but I'll show you. Article, adjective, noun. So nicht is in the position where only an adjective is allowed. Do you see the article? Where's the article?
in dem.
Im is in dem, so it is a hidden article. So you have an article and a noun, and in between these two, the only thing allowed is an adjective. Yeah? So imagine, let's take a classical picture. Like you have a father and a mother, traditional, and then you have a child. The only person allowed between father and mother is the child. Yeah? Not a lover, not a neighbor. Be conservative in German grammar. That's the only thing. So nicht would be a lover. It's not important. It is not allowed. Imagine Germans being Catholic and being traditional, as a mnemonic. Yeah, they're definitely not. Most people are not Catholic anymore. Clear? So between an article, whatever kind, and a noun, you cannot have a nicht. Last one, nicht gesehen, possible or not possible?
Yeah.
Nothing against. We started with this, right? We said before the past participle, the GE word, we put the nicht. So I didn't see your husband, but I heard him. That's possible, but unlikely. Last one, gesehen nicht. This one is for Felicia.
Yes, it is. It is correct, but it's saying something different from what we intended to say.
So in English, you can say, I have seen your father not.
No.
So neither you can. So this helps a little bit. You cannot say this. You cannot say it either in German. After the past participle, I deleted the rule. When you rewind the video later, once it's on YouTube, you will see it. After the past participle, you cannot put the nicht. It's a rule. So same. Never after past participle. Past participle you also know as participe to. Yeah? Don't worry about the names. Participe simply means it's a part of something, and here it's part of the past tense. That's good enough. Yeah? It's not its original meaning, but it helps. So a participle is part of something. Okay. So you have 9 possibilities, of which 4 are excluded by law, the law of grammar, and another 4 are simply such rare use cases that they make no sense to use. So which one was the most natural one? What did we say? Do you remember this? Look at all the examples.
It was nicht gesehen, I think.
Was it
Ich habe
5?
das Supermarkt nicht
5?
gesehen.
Number 5?
Ich habe deinen Mann nicht gestern im Supermarkt gesehen. So they're all the remaining ones are doable, but they are not all really used. Number 5 is not used much. I haven't seen your husband in the supermarket yesterday. Where was he? Was he sick? Because he comes regularly to the supermarket. That would be a situation in which I would allow 5. Actually, no. Ich habe deinen Mann nicht gestern im Supermarkt gesehen, but vorgestern. Actually, no, sorry. Number 5 would be, no, I didn't see your husband yesterday. I saw him the day before. Yeah, but that is not a very usual situation. Number 8 is indeed, I didn't see your husband yesterday. Yeah, I just didn't see him. He didn't come into my awareness, my attention, my field of vision. So 8 is the most common one and most natural one. And you see how much work this is for your, how do you call this, for your understanding, to accept that this is the only one that actually can be used and is most likely to be used in such a situation. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you do this 100 times, it's not much. So it took us maybe 20 minutes to go through this, or half an hour, because I talked a lot. But if you do this on your own, you take a minute each, it's 10 minutes per example. Egal, don't do it 100 times, do it 20 times. Good enough. After 20 times, you should be able to identify the most probable position of nicht in such sentences. And that is what you do in my course. You could do it 100 times, I think. I have enough examples. But you don't have to. At one point, you will realize, oh, that gets easier. That feels more natural now. Yeah? And there's always a different meaning, depending on the position of nicht. So one last thing to remember. So in textbooks, and many teachers simply tell you put the nicht in front of what you negate. That is not wrong. But you hopefully have seen here that it's not as easy as that, because your native language intervenes, and that might not only be English. Yeah, you might have a real native language or another native language that intervenes because you've used it so many times differently. And your understanding is in the way. If you do this formally, you might at one point get to this, as we did. So you exclude the ones that don't work. So number 2, let's remove them. Number 2 doesn't work. So if you do this, you can possibly exclude the ones that don't work right away. Yeah, and then you only have 6 left. Not even. 5 left out of 9 in such a long sentence. Not all sentences are that long. And that already reduces the information. Within a minute, maybe, you can identify the ones that do not work. And you see the nice cascade here. Nicht ich, nicht dein Mann, nicht gestern, nicht im Supermarkt. So it goes like this. Yeah. Don't be afraid of this. This is practice. In practice, you practice things many times and to get a hang of things and to develop a feeling for it. You cannot have a feeling for the German language without having been exposed to it intensively and without having practiced things intensively. You cannot have a feeling for the language other than by doing that. You have to develop it. And this is one way to develop it. Yeah. If you have a feeling, you're mistaking your native languages or English's structure. And often you are lucky. It is similar to German, but often it is not. Yeah, so English is, a blessing and a curse at the same time. A bit clearer, you get the point. Yeah, so don't worry about nicht. But the easiest part is to identify, do I need nicht or kein? That should be very, very easy for you. There should be no doubt in no example that is put in front of you. Now, if there's ever any doubt, that's beautiful, because that's a learning opportunity. That's where it can click. Any doubt is a gift to you. And that's why you have your mind-pleasing notebook. There's a concept where you take notes of all your doubts and questions and put them down for a week to put them aside if they are not blocking. And after a week, you go through that again and see whether certain things have become clear simply because you have finally covered that grammar point, or you have had exposure and it clicked on its own. Yeah, sometimes you need to let go of something for it to sink in. That's why the mind-pleasing notebook is so powerful. But in general, if there's a doubt, that's a gift, and you want to look into it. The doubt can be the last drop that brings everything into the flow, and therefore your doubts are precious. No reason to get frustrated. Quite the opposite. You should rejoice when you have a doubt or a question or something is not clear. What is not clear? That's the opportunity. Yeah. It's always easier said than done, but keep this in mind. It's a little different framing for learning. Yeah, because you're not in school. You don't get punished for mistakes. Quite the opposite. You get rewarded for your mistakes because you see them now, or you have a feeling this is off. Yeah. Remember in the beginning, I asked you, what would you prefer, or what would you say is most likely the right answer, nicht or keinen? You picked the right one, the keinen. So that was already a sign for you that there's something happening or going into the right direction. Clear? This is a complex matter, yeah? So I just gave you one example that takes time. And in the preaching, you will find that I almost always, not always, but almost always, I add negation with kein as well as with nicht, for the reason of continuous exposure to the right structure and position. And the position of the nicht in the preachings is possibly always, maybe 99%, always where I would put it as a native speaker. the most probable, the most likely position of the Nicht. Therefore, if you do the preaching and repeat them, you will get a feeling for this without doing this exercise consciously. But this exercise once a week, why not? Yeah, it takes you 2 to 5 years to learn German anyhow, so you have a lot of time to practice occasionally. Clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So take your time. There's no pressure. I know there's pressure from the outside to pass an exam and stuff like that. Yeah. But once this concept clicks, it clicks for the rest of your life, not just for a week or for an exam. And you want to use the language until you die. If not, also fine. Yeah, up to you. But in general, you learn a language to keep it, because all this effort, why would you do this if it wouldn't stay with you for many years? I've learned English when I was 18 and with a bit of preparation the years before, but not much. It stuck with me, even though, yeah, of course, I practiced a little bit before and I studied it a little bit formally, but I never really took many courses, if any. Yeah. I read a grammar book in English and I knew the grammar much better than I do now, but yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, a pleasure. And there's plenty of these things. Take note of any questions you have. First in the mind-pleasing notebook, and by all means bring them here. I'm happy to walk you through this. There is really no reason to get frustrated with German learning. Yeah, it's really enjoyable. Dankeschön. Und schönen Abend.
I think you make it easy, Michael. So I think it's on you. It's actually on you. You make it easy, but technically it's a little bit hard, as you said, because we're looking on our own understanding in our native language. But thank you so much for your help.
My pleasure. But here's the thing. I don't make it easy. It is easy. There's certain textbooks or whatever that make it difficult. And one thing that makes it really difficult is if I try to explain all these things today in German to you, especially if you're not B2 level yet, because if you don't understand German and I explain things in German to you, half of the information goes to waste. So, and that is not only my experience and my opinion, it is indeed hard science. Yeah, a friend of mine has actually wrote many books on this matter, and he's a professor, retired now, but he brought me onto the right track. And that's why smarterGerman uses English to teach, so everything is crystal clear and I can explain things very easily. You can learn with German only, but it's a lot more work and there's a lot more uncertainty, especially in the first levels. Genau. And on your own, I understand. Yeah, I am doing my best to add tools to the course that help you ask quick questions. That's not there yet because it costs extra money and you will have to pay for it. So right now it's not necessary. I try to establish these settings occasionally, not only for smarterGerman learners, but for everyone. But work with the course. I did my best to really explain things step by step, simple steps. I simplified things that I cut out things that are not necessary for beginners. Later on, I bring them back because they are joyful. Take your time. Yeah. The moment you rush, you skip things and then things become more complicated. I'll repeat myself a few more times. No worries. Okay. Now let's call this a day and thank you for making it and for staying that long. I appreciate it and see you around. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Bye.
Bye. Tschüss.